I just want to make a couple of comments on principles and then take questions and ideas and hear from you guys. A couple of reasons that I like SB1 and I like school choice on basic principles. Personal liberty. Giving parents the choice, putting the money in their pocket as consumers to then go and find the best school for their child is about as pro-freedom as it comes to education in this country. Right now we have a situation where the government is, the government schools have a almost complete monopoly through the power of the teachers unions. This is it's a moral issue. It's about personal liberty, and it's about giving parents and the children an opportunity. So that, to me, that's why I fight this battle. I now live in D.C., in the belly of the beast, and to watch the students, they're actually marched with a bunch of Democrats. One guy in particular, Marion Barry, you may have heard about, just this wild and crazy city councilman. The one thing I could agree with with Marion Barry was school choice, and it was great. But to watch these kids that got opportunity scholarships in D.C., and then they were basically taken away from them by the president and the Democrats in Congress, to watch them come out and beg their president, the guy that lived at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue down the street, that they would have a better choice, that they and their parents would have the opportunity to go to a better school. That almost brings tears to your eyes when you watch that and you see the real people affected by this. And these are good kids, and these are parents who are trying to give their children a better life. So that is very attractive to me. Also, just as someone who works, for a free market institution and who understands free market economics and competition, the idea that by creating a marketplace of ideas and a marketplace of choice for parents and students, what that's going to do is make the public schools better. It's going to make private schools compete. It's going to make everyone have to compete at like a business for the money that would go with the vouchers. And by the way, there's a lot of myths and lies being spread about this bill. We can debate the merits of it, but let's deal with the facts. This doesn't increase property taxes. This doesn't raise new revenue from taxes to pay for this. This is state funding, and actually funding that's already been allocated. The vouchers would be half of what we're already spending per child in places like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and Harrisburg. So you're spending less dollars, you're getting a better education, and you're creating competition, all at the same time sending a shot across the bow to the teachers unions who basically have bought and paid for the state legislature. So you combine this with something like ending mandatory dues for unions and make people write checks to fund the unions, and I bet you'd have a brand new situation in this state when it comes to public policy in Harrisburg. So I hope that you guys will get on board with this fight. It's an important one. And I want to hear from you now and hear questions, concerns, comments.
I just have one more thing to say. I don't know if you know, but we're spending $26 billion a year in the educational system in Pennsylvania. And 144 failing schools, that's a failing monopoly. And Anastasia and I had the pleasure to go down to Philadelphia and participate. Well, we weren't on the panel. We were able to ask questions of this panel on SB1, on education. And the president of the PSEA was there. And I personally asked her, I said, if SB1 is not the solution, what is the solution that the PSEA is putting forth to solve the educational problem? Is it more money into the system? Because quite frankly, we've been pouring more money into the system for the past 15 years, and it has not worked. On the contrary, we continue to grow the number of failing schools, and the graduation levels rates are going down. And her answer to me was, yes, it's more money. We need more money. We need full-day kindergarten, which translates into more money. I think full-day kindergarten is great if we could afford it, but it's not the solution. Keeping kindergarten kids in school for a longer period of time doesn't solve the problems of those kids in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and Harrisburg whose parents are working 2 to 3 jobs to try to move to a better zip code and still can't do it. So I'm sorry, we're going to fight the PSEA on this one all the way because they've had time to prove, that more money works, and it doesn't.
Okay, any questions?
If my math is correct, you say that Philadelphia is spending $18,000 per student per year? Okay.
In some districts, Pittsburgh spends even more. I think Pittsburgh is 20 or 22,000, something like that.
Certainly not a return on investment that I would appreciate.
I'd like to start first by saying I fully support school choice. I guess my only problem with this bill is it doesn't go far enough. The only students it's hitting is going to help are those that are in low income, inner cities. Yes, we are going to go statewide. Truth of the matter is when you get out in rural areas, it's not going to make one impact on the school teachers unions. Sorry, something here. The schools, you're saying 91 in Philadelphia, the 144, probably the rest are in Philadelphia, Harrisburg, Reading, Allentown. Have I hit about all the cities that have the problem?
Reading is one.
They're all, so I mean, the rest of us out here, look, my income right now, because I'm unemployed, we're making $33,000 a year in my income. There's 3 of us. My son is in high school. You're saying to me, you don't count. And that's the problem I have with this bill. I think every student in Pennsylvania should have the opportunity to go to any school they want, and the money should follow them.
You know what? That's what we ultimately want. And no, but here's one thing you have to think about. The way that Pennsylvania structures, the way that they distribute money to different school districts, a majority of this, like we, the taxpayer, are already paying for Philadelphia. Me, for instance, in the suburbs, my local income tax, my local property tax is what pays for my school. We get very little from Harrisburg. So if they're already taking my money and dumping it into a failing system, then I say, bring on the competition in those districts. And that's one of the things I think people don't realize is that Philadelphia was bailed out in 2002 and taken over by the state. Exactly. So now we're going to say, now you have to have competition. So it will help.
And also, you have to think about this. We can't afford as a state to give choice to everybody right now. We're in dire straits in Pennsylvania. We don't have the funds to do it. There is no money. Show me the money. There is no money. So let's start small. Let's take a page from the left and let's introduce incrementalism. That's what the PSEA has been doing here for years and years and years. Let's use this as a model. Let's see if it works. If it works in Philadelphia, then we can expand. And for you, sir, there's the EITC program. That's where the beauty of SB1. It's a combination of school vouchers and EITC. If you don't qualify for a voucher, surely you qualify for the EITC program.
Yeah, the new number is now, I think, 78,000 for the income. So it would, I mean, that was one of the concerns that was brought to legislators, and so they actually said, they went back to the negotiating table, and this expansion is what came out of that. So these are definitely some of the new bill that's been amended through the Education Committee. Again, that's something that's been addressed.
And one more thing that I forgot to address as far as having universal choice. Do you know the pressure that our legislators get from the teachers' unions when it comes to a vote like this? It will never pass. They don't have the political will right now to pass something as drastic as universal choice in Pennsylvania. So let's not waste time in the small window of opportunity that we have and remain with the status quo, which has been proven to fail, all of us, in the long run, whether you're rural or not. Because, like I said before, in the long run, we're all going to pay the price tag of the corrections facilities. So.
Yes, I'm just wondering, you just said 78,000 it's going up to, it's being increased to? From 28? Oh, okay. Now, if you don't get the voucher system passed, just the voucher part, what happens to that money? Where does it go?
It would just continue to stay in the system.
Right, that the companies give. In other words, the companies are contributing this money if they invest in education, right? And you want the second part, the vouchers come through. But what happens to that money if the vouchers don't come through?
I'm not sure I understand the question. It would stay in the general fund.
All right. Where does that general fund go to? What happens with that general fund? Where does that participate into?
Well, right now we spend $26 billion on education.
You mean the whole
That's
the
what we
state?
spend, our state.
Or our state
State
budget's
spending.
only $26 billion.
No.
So, y-
Right.
Right. Okay. So you have all this money, you have this money in the general fund, right?
Not the 26 billion. The 26 billion is what we're spending.
Right.
So,
It's just redirecting it from the school itself to the parent to use at a private school.
I see what you mean. Well, what do you think of Corbett? Is he for this? Is he doing a good job?
well, Corbett campaign.
In your estimation?
I'll be honest with you. I mean, we're all Tea Partiers. This is the beauty of being a Tea Party. I can walk into the Capitol,
Right.
and I can tell these legislators exactly how I feel. So, anyway, there's no politicking around here. Corbett campaigned on school choice. That was one of his number one. It was top 4 in his campaign, and it's his top 4 agenda item. It's in the top 4 agenda list for this year in Pennsylvania. I think he needs to be stronger. He supports SB1. He has come out and he has said that he supports SB1, but I don't believe Governor Corbett has been loud enough. No. We elected him to be a Governor Walker, and I haven't seen him perform like Governor Walker. He's not even close to being a Walker. So we need him to put pressure on the legislators to get this bill out of the Senate and into the House before June 30th and have this go for a vote. So that's my honest opinion about Corbett.
I just kind of wondered about children like special needs. You know, their costs are going to be much higher than I imagine the normal child who doesn't have those special needs. How would that affect? How would all this be affecting them at all, or what happens?
We've actually seen in other states where entire programs in schools, charter schools, smaller schools, set up to address those students in particular. So I think that's the beauty of this, of competition, and the beauty of this type of choice program is that so they could stay in the public school. That, you know, that may be where they are. That's where they are right now. That may be, you know, if that school is serving their needs, maybe they stay there, but they would have the option to go somewhere else. Now, you can't force a school to take all the students. That's not what we're asking. That's not what what's in the bill. But what we've seen is that actual schools have been set up to address special needs children. So it kind of just depends. That's the beauty of the marketplace, is that I don't have an exact answer because it's not a planned economy. It's actually a more of a market.
Well, and the other thing is, I think this is one of the highlights of the bill, is the fact that it gives parental accountability. The parents actually have to go out there, research the various schools that are participating in the program, because the school can actually turn the program down. They don't have to be a part of the school choice program. But the parent will have to go out there, look at the schools, and then decide which schools they're going to apply to. And then the school has to accept the student. So, and it's first come, first served basis. So, but I think the parental accountability is brilliant because parents need to be involved. I think we need to have parents rather than the government telling us how to raise our kids. So, and the money will go to the parent, and then the parent will give the voucher money to the schools, and that's what makes the bill constitutional, by the way, because there has been a lot of talk about the bill being unconstitutional. It's not unconstitutional because the parent is the middleman. If the money was going directly from the government to the schools, then it would be unconstitutional.
And I'll add to that too. When you deal with special ed students, my wife's a second grade teacher, master's degree. She just got a master's in special ed. There's an EIP placement, which is an educational placement that they put in that follows the student. Sorry, I guess I need the mic. But it basically it follows the student. So you've got a federally mandated thing that they can't touch in this bill because it is federally mandated. It kind of goes above what the public school system here can do. So that's a placement you get. So that follows the student anyway. So say it's an EIP for assisted reading. If that person's going to go to a school, say a private school with that voucher, if they don't have a program for that, it's choice. They have to move them on to another school that has that type of program that follows the IEP. So it follows the student because it's mandated. That's what they're tested for.